Welcome folks. Some people on the CBX Facebook page have asked me to do a wee video about the fuel supply and the diaphragm and how to prime the bike when the engine's not running. Now you can see the diaphragm in the back here, and the diaphragm was actually fitted to CBXs after it was discovered that if the bike was left on its side stand for any length of time, fuel would flow through the extreme left hand carburetor and into the cylinder, and when you started the bike it would hydraulic and bend a rod. So they decided that they were going to put this diaphragm in, which stops any fuel flow if the engine's not running. The problem is that if you've got left the bike for any period of time and you've got stale fuel in your float chambers, then it's going to be a problem trying to get the bike started, and you've got to crank it and crank it and crank it. So what I came up with was a way of priming the fuel through into the carburetors that avoided you having to crank the engine over. So you can see in there that the pipe that actually goes from the engine or the manifold into the diaphragm to operate the diaphragm, I have it T-pieced. There's a small T-piece, I'm not sure, I'm trying to see if you can actually see it. There's the T-piece just in there. See if I can get some different light on it. So anyway, that T-piece is actually allowing me to take a pipe into a little fuel tap here, and that fuel tap is, under normal circumstances, in running mode, if you like, is in the off position, so that's sealed. So that whole system is sealed and it's just being operated by the vacuum coming from the inlet manifold or from the venturi. So if I have a situation where the bike's not been run for quite a while, normally if I'm well organised, then I would have actually drained the float bowls. I have a special screwdriver that I use for this, and it's nice and long, and I can get it onto the 3 drain screws, and I can actually drain the carburetors. As I say, if I'm organised, I'll do it when I park the bike up. If I'm not, I've parked the bike up and I haven't run it for a while, then what I'll do is I'll drain the carburetors anyway and then prime it. And this is how I actually prime it. So what I would do is I would take excuse me, I would take my my Honda pliers. Look at that. Actual Honda pliers, would you believe? I bet nobody else has a pair of them. And I take these pliers and I actually nip the pipe that's coming from the manifold and into the diaphragm, so that closes that off. Because what I'm going to do next is I'm going to open this tap here, which allows me to suck air through this tube like that. And when I knit that and suck, I can actually feel the diaphragm opening, and it means that I can hold that for 30 seconds, say, or 40 seconds, and then by that time I know that all my float chambers are full of reasonably good fuel that's in the tank. So the carbs have been replenished with decent fuel, and I've not had to crank the engine, which saves the battery, which saves the starter motor, and everything else. Oh, by the way, always fit an Odyssey battery. As far as I'm concerned, it's a great battery, and it cranks the engine really well and ensures that the starter motor is kept in good condition. There's nothing worse than a battery struggling to turn the engine over. That's what knackers your starter motor. So there you have it. That's my way of protecting the engine. A lot of people don't have these diaphragms, and they say they're always sure to switch the fuel off. Well, I'm not as disciplined as that, unfortunately, and so I'm glad to have this. But as I say, I have this smart little feature that allows me to prime the bike without turning it over. So I hope that helps you. Everyone welcome to get in touch if they want more information. Happy to supply it. Cheers.